Anybody seen any good movies this week?
I saw Mission Impossible 5. Mission Impossible 5 was, it's so good. Not as good as my 3 favorite movies of this year, which is Ex Machina, Mad Max, and Inside Out. But it is pretty close.
Yeah.
Like, it is an enjoyable film. Some cliche stuff happens in it, which is expected from an action movie of this type. But Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, holy she plays the female agent. She's a British spy, and she could you up, man. I mean, you watch this movie, and she is so good. She's gorgeous, and she looks like she could kill you.
Nice.
The movie's excellent. It is an excellent film. It looked so good.
And I like that shot, especially in the movie theater, with Ethan Hunt being on the side of the plane hanging, and they show you a big panoramic view of the airport as it's taking off to really hit home the idea. This is happening. It is not green screen.
Nice.
Wonderfully shot sequence. And then the movie opens up into the credits. And
It is so good.
You just go on this roller coaster, man. It's so much fun. You watch anything?
I saw The Hurt Locker over the week. I finally got a chance to sit down and watch that. It was a fantastic film. It's on streaming on Netflix, so I...
You know, the most surprising thing about The Hurt Locker for me was them killing off Guy Pearce.
Right off the bat.
First few
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, and also when they kill off
I
Ralph...
haven't seen
He
it
hasn't
yet.
seen it yet.
That's how they
Nothing to do
introduced
with
Jeremy
the film.
Renner.
Jeremy Renner's dead?
No, not yet.
No.
This isn't Sixth Sense.
No, not The Sixth Sense. 28 weeks later. That's where Jeremy Renner dies.
Oh,
He's the military
does.
guy.
He's also in National Lampoon's Senior Trip, and he
Really?
plays a stoner in it.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
So I am excited that he has become the actor that he is.
Because you think you yourself, a stoner, can become a Jeremy Renner.
One day, because I am the biggest stoner in the world.
Yep, I get home and every day I hear this.
Nope, I don't like that sound. No, I would make a terrible stoner.
Warning. The following program contains language not suitable for younger listeners and spoilers. You have been warned.
Now beamed from the fortified bunker below Culver City, California, this is Well, That Happens Movie Review.
Alright, and welcome to the Well That Happened movie show, where we take a look at a Netflix movie once a week, every week, chosen by one of us, your host, Todd, on my left that you can't see, and Jeff on my right that you can't see. And we have Haley join in because she watches movies too. She does makeup and stuff, at least from what I can tell from her Instagram page.
Well, we all do something in the movie industry, a little bit.
I dance.
Yeah. Well,
Just kidding.
I'm a dancer.
Dancer for money.
you two are the pretty faces. I write. Haley does makeup, so we've
Awesome.
We've been around. We've been around the industry a little bit.
That's right, and this week we watched Batman starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. The tagline from Netflix for Batman is, "The Dark Knight of Gotham City begins his war on crime with his first major enemy being the clownishly homicidal Joker." So we always play this game now. It's make up your own Netflix tagline. Who wants to go first? Jeff?
Sure, I will go first. In a Gotham City designed by Delia from Beetlejuice, a new version of the Dark Knight appears on the scene, along with the denial of police and the curiosity reporters. He fights his arch nemesis, the Joker, brought about by a circular creation.
Wow, I would skip this Netflix movie if it had that description.
Thanks.
Todd?
A crime wave sweeps Gotham City with no hope in sight for the public when out of the darkness steps the Dark Knight, Batman. In this first Tim Burton superhero film, Michael Keaton plays the titular character taking on his old nemesis, the Joker.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Haley?
Na 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 Batman. That's all
Well
I
done.
Nice.
That was really well done.
Nice. My Netflix tagline would be, Batman and Joker fight for a woman's affection in this 1989 rom-com by Tim Burton.
That's good. That's good. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And so now we're going to go into some other things. It is a comic book film, so I decided, let's talk comic book films. So we're going to start off with, first question, who is your favorite comic book hero? Either growing up or as an adult, what did you grow to like? And I'm going to toss that question to Haley to throw her off.
Yeah. No, I never really liked the heroes. I always liked the villains in different comic books. But giving it some serious thought, I like the women of Old Town in Sin City because they're badass. They wear hardly anything, and they have lots of guns. And,
Oh, I thought they put because they put out.
well, that's part of it, but they don't take any shit from anyone.
Unless they're paid to.
Yes.
Do you think they're paid to get
That was the word of the week, so you're still using it. That's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
Jeff, who are you?
Well, it's funny because my tastes have changed throughout the years. When I was a wee little kid, I loved Superman because, you know, the idea of just being able to run around, fly, and just be able to not be hurt by anything really appealed to a young child brain that I had. Then as I was growing up, I got into the gothic kind of like darkness, the brooding side of my teenage years, and I liked Spawn a lot. Like, that was my favorite. The movie sucked a lot, but whatever.
You know, it went through 11 cuts, or actually more cuts than that, like 30 cuts before they were approved by the MPAA.
Yeah.
For that movie, they completely fucked that movie up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because, I mean, did you ever see the cartoon version? It was very cool, but it was very dark and very violent, and they were just swearing, having sex. It was great.
When I was younger, my mom took us to go see Spawn the movie in theaters. And then when we went to go hang out with our dad the next weekend, we said, oh, we saw Spawn. So he went and got it at the video store, and it was the anime. And the first 5 minutes in it, they're having sex. He's like, nope.
Yeah, it was a very violent. I mean, there was like one of the main bad guys was a pedophile child killer.
The Violator?
No, that was the Kincaid, Billy Kincaid. He was
Is that the clown?
no.
The clown was Violator.
Clown was Violator. There was basically a man who drove around in an ice cream truck, and he picked up kids and he basically raped them and murdered them in the comic book. And so Spawn
Spawn was really dark.
It was all from the mind of Todd McFarlane, too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
And
as an adult, what have you grown to like?
Sandman. I really enjoy Sandman. I liked the comics when I was younger, but I've grown a new appreciation for them as I got older. I like the fantasy and kind of like, and I've always enjoyed Neil Gaiman's writing. So anything that man touches, for the most part, I enjoy.
Imagine how much you'd enjoy it if Neil Gaiman touched you, Jeff.
Oh man, he'd get my Sandman going.
Simba. That's two. All right.
I
Todd?
didn't think we were playing in this particular episode because it's the middle of the week now.
Doesn't matter. It's a word of the week.
Oh, that's right. It is the word of the week. Damn,
Yeah.
I forgot. Okay, well, in the Marvel universe, I'm pretty simple in my tastes, and I recognize that. But in the Marvel universe, my favorite character is Captain America. I love Captain America. I love the idea of this guy. He's a man out of time. He is struggling with his own identity and who he is, especially in a misplaced world. He's a super patriot in a world that doesn't necessarily want patriots. He's trying to fight for what he believes is right, and he doesn't necessarily always have the support. He's not necessarily a superhero. He's a normal guy who just happened to have some extra abilities. I have a lot of respect for Captain America, and I really enjoy him as a character. In the DC world, and my favorite superhero on top, is Superman. I love Superman. Superman, to me, is a tragic character. He's the only one who has to hide the real him with his alter ego, being Clark Kent, in order to fit in. He's ultimately alone. He's fighting for a group of people who, they can appreciate him because he's saving them, but they don't really like him. They fear him because he's somebody who's different. He's somebody who doesn't fit in. He is doing what he thinks is right from a sense of urgency, and almost, I would say, a sense of hubris, which would be the tragic flaw. He is going and he's trying to fight for humanity, even though he is not himself a human. And he ends up paying the ultimate price in the death of Superman, fighting for a world that doesn't necessarily care.
And you're absolutely right. He is kind of a tragic character. And although the death of Superman, I like the death of Superman, but the return, man.
Yeah, I stopped at the point.
Yeah.
That, for me, Superman ended there.
Because the return of Superman ruined comic books, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because at that point it became a soap opera. A death didn't really mean anything.
Well, it was with the return of Superman. That's when that sort of gave carte blanche to all the comic book worlds, and that's when Marvel started their Civil War and their alternate universes, and where everyone is no longer who they were when I was a kid growing up, and everybody's a different person now, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not a continuing storyline.
Yeah.
I like Civil War as a comic book, but I'm really dreading the movies.
If they're anything like Avengers, Age of Ultron, they're gonna suck.
They're gonna suck.
Though Ant-Man, great. Ant-Man is great.
My favorite comic book hero, initially I was going to pick Wolverine, because that's my first real introduction into the comic book world. with the animated series from the 90s on Fox. At least they played it here on Fox. I don't know where they played it in your part of the country because everybody's different.
It was still Fox. It was just different channel.
And Wolverine had an Australian accent, even though he's from Canada for the first few episodes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when I did start sort of reading comic books, it was Spider-Man. Spider-Man, to me, the guilt that he had over Uncle Ben, it's about great power comes great responsibility, and what he chose to do was brilliant because he could have used those powers and taken abuse of it, and he decided, no, I'm going to do the right thing, almost like Captain America, and do what I feel is right because of the people who raised me. And so that character always resonates. That's why I can't really enjoy Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, because he's not a very good Peter Parker. He's an okay Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, he's wearing a mask the entire time as Spider-Man, so
yeah, but I mean,
it could be anyone.
Even his deliveries and the lines, the way he does it, I just didn't particularly enjoy his delivery of Spider-Man. I felt that Andrew Garfield was a much better Spider-Man. He was an okay Peter Parker because they were trying to make him a little bit more hip, and that's not really what Peter Parker is. He's a geek, and he doesn't stray from that. It's when he's in the outfit of Spider-Man that he's like, I can be a smartass. I can be whoever I want, and I'm going to be a smartass superhero. But yeah, Spider-Man, man. Spider-Man, man.
Are you looking forward to the new Spider-Man movies?
I'm always reserving judgment when it comes to these kinds of films because if you're too excited, it might blow up in your face.
Right.
I'm trying to also, like Star Wars, I'm trying to be very calm about it, but I'm losing my fucking mind over it.
Well, if I see one more origin story of Spider-Man, though, I'm going to just,
and that's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be another reboot because it's a whole other factory.
That's my thing. Like, when the Amazing Spider-Man came out with Andrew Garfield, I felt they should have just been like, hey, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You know the story. And go from there and just start a whole new thing. But instead, they decided to do the origin again, which that did drive me nuts.
Which is why, admittedly, I haven't seen it. Because I'm like, I've seen this story. I don't need to see this story again.
Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man is my favorite comic book hero.
Cool. Well, what's your favorite comic book hero? Let us know at wellthathappenpodcast.com or Facebook us, message us, however you want to do it.
That's right. Facebook.com/WTH podcast.
Join the dark side.
All right, and with that, we're going to move on to the next topic. Since we are discussing comic books, they are adapted into films such as the talked about Spider-Man, X-Men, and obviously other films of that sort. So I want to know, what's one of your favorite comic/graphic novel movies that were adapted from the books? What did you watch and enjoy? Haley?
I had a hard time with this question because a lot of graphic novels that get turned into movies just are nowhere close to what the graphic novel pulls across. Like The Mask, for instance. That is a dark, dark comic, and the movie is Jim Carrey on an acid trip.
Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey with early CGI.
Yeah.
Right.
It's terrible.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Let me show you something.
Yeah, you watch it now, and it doesn't hold up well.
No, it was good when I was 8.
It was good when I was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I don't think I liked it then.
I liked it.
I don't think I was ever really a Jim Carrey fan, though.
That's the only time that I actually liked Cameron Diaz.
I did like Jim Carrey in Kick-Ass 2. Kick-Ass 2 was terrible, but Jim Carrey was good in Kick-Ass 2 up until he bashed the entire movie. It was like, it's too violent after he's one of the most violent characters in that film.
Well, Jim Carrey's fucking crazy, so...
Yeah. Back to the question. I think my favorite graphic novel 2 movie was Sin City, the first one. I haven't seen the second one. The series is amazing, and they did so well on recreating a lot of the cells from the comic, and it's like line for line the same story.
Nice.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez did a great job with that.
And he had
it's such a beautiful,
Tarantino's
beautiful
also
movie.
on that one too, and
He did a minute, and Frank Miller.
Frank Miller came in. He had all kinds of people, and it took so long for him to make because they're like, "No, you can't do this."
Well, they were giving him more of a hard time of the fact that he wanted to give directing credits to Frank Miller, but he was saying that because he was using so many of the cells from the comic that he thought it was only fair to give the man the credits.
Right.
And looking at it, clearly you have to give Frank Miller the credit.
My understanding is he even turned in his DGA card.
He did. Yeah. Just because DGA was, in a sense, saying you can't have more than one director on a film, and they're putting up a big fuss about it. So he was just like, all right, I won't go through the DGA then.
Is that the reason why the second one took so long to get made?
I don't know why the second one took so long. I mean, it could be that Quentin Tarantino and Rodriguez work so much on different things.
They're busy all the time.
Yeah, so
I just know they had announced that years ago before it even.
yeah, who knows? I mean, it's usually funding. It's usually people who there are no limitations to the excuses and the problems that can be set upon by films and movies and why they get pushed back. Usually, it's money.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Ice Cube. He's been trying to get Friday made for years, and you keep seeing little rumors pop up that he's working on the next Friday film, but I don't know if it's going to happen, or it might be too late, honestly.
I think it's too late for
It's
that
been
one.
20 years since Friday. I forget how long ago the last Friday came out, like 8 years ago or something like that.
And it really wasn't that great. It was
So,
a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you should just give it up, not do it, because Chris Tucker, he doesn't want to do the film. He's not really in.
Yeah. You almost have to, when a movie like that comes out, you almost have to pretty much secure the monies really quickly and just do it again. I mean, you really have to jump. Because if you wait 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to start losing interest in money and no one's going to care. And the next thing you know, it's just going to get strung out 20 years later.
So, Todd, I mean, what's your what are your favorites?
My favorite comic book movie, I think, is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a damn fine film. I absolutely love that movie. I think it was done just so well. It was a good storyline. It was a good story. It was well made. It was based on sort of obscure comic that was then brought into the Marvel movie canon. It was done exceptionally well. All the acting was awesome in it. The effects were great. And the story was so good it made you care about all of the characters. It was a really well-crafted film, and that is probably my favorite comic book movie.
That's a good choice. I really did enjoy that film. Jeff, what would you pick?
I have to go with, I mean, if we're going to go straight movie.
It could be anything. Anything.
Here's the thing, because there's caveats. There's caveats because straight movie, I think I'll have to go with Watchmen. I really enjoy that movie, and I use that a lot as a template of how you're going to present an alternate universe, an alternate timeline. Because the opening to that movie, where they're showing pieces of history but altering them to fit the new world, I think was done very well. Also, the fact that they were using, like in Sin City, and that's also one of my favorites, they were using a lot of cells from the movie to create the shots. Also great. They didn't really stray too much from the storyline. There was a lot of the storyline that was used in the graphic novel that was, in fact, still used. They did change a couple things, but for those, I did not have any issues with. And even some of the Black Trader sections of the movie, you can find the version of that with it incorporated, and they did create a side piece that was the Black Trader. So I think as a source material, they followed it very closely, and that's probably one of my favorites, as well as Sin City. But I think Watchmen is perhaps the more popular one. I really enjoyed Batman Arkham Asylum as a video game. I think that was done well. Even though it doesn't really quite follow the comic book, the idea of the story of Batman going through Arkham Asylum was fantastic. My favorite comic book cartoon movie, however, is Batman The Dark Knight Returns. Fantastic. Follows the story beautifully. Everything is well done. I love it.
I like that Jeff's like caveats.
Yeah, I mean,
I get it. I get it. There's different forms.
There's different forms that you can't just pick. If you were to just pick one favorite
that's
one.
Why I wasn't. That's why I said pick one just for now. Because I mean, obviously, there's gonna be other comic book films that we may watch, and we may discuss other films that we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And you just burned your whole.
That's true. That's true. I did, but I mean, it's hard to pick just one. But if I had to pick favorite ones within different series, those would probably be my favorite ones.
It's super difficult.
It is.
Me.
It is. Mm-hmm. There's so many. I mean, there's so many graphic novels out there that are great, and there's versions of those graphic novels that are both good and bad, and they fall in different categories. So to say this one particular story is better than another is just really difficult.
I guess I should have worded the question: what's one of your favorite comic book movies? For me, also torn, the great Road to Perdition starring Tom Hanks, and
The movie's beautiful.
yeah, it's such a well-shot movie. I think it's Sam Mendes who did that film.
I think so.
And it was one of his first kind of work or major film releases. It came out at the same time as Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes. Believe me.
An important film
So
in
which
American
was-
canon.
I did not want to watch Halloween Resurrection. All my friends were like, let's watch this. Hated that movie with a passion. Especially killing
bad.
off Jamie Lee Curtis. How dare you? She should have survived all the way
Well,
to the
now I
end.
don't have to watch that movie. I've
They
never
killed her in
seen
the
that
beginning
one.
sequence, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Damn.
She was like locked up in an insane asylum, and he comes after her. But my favorite graphic novel adaptation is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I can watch that every single day if I wanted to. It is so much fun. Michael Cera, Chris Evans before his Captain America role, Allison Pill. Jesus Christ, this cast is ridiculous. Anna Kendrick, Audrey Plaza.
That movie was awesome.
It's a good movie.
Just the love that Edgar Wright has for the series is so evident. The way it's shot, the way it's sequenced. It's a comic book movie come to the real world. It's like, what if comics existed on our plane?
Well, and I feel like that one would have been a hard one to make in general because is it 10 or is it 12 different books that they
It's
put in
6
one
of them.
movie?
6 that he put together in one.
And he had to take the main key points from each single one and put it in there. That movie is brilliant.
And he hit all the notes. There's a lot of little extra special things in each of the frame shots. Whenever they discuss the X's, there's X's in the background. Whenever they talk about certain sequences, there's precursors. When he's fighting the 4th X, there's 4 symbolism everywhere. Such a cleverly shot film. It's a shame that it didn't do as well as it should have done in the movie theaters, but I think it's because people would have a hard time understanding what this movie was. And the best way I can always describe it to people, it's comic books in real life. What if our world was a comic book? How would it operate? But God, love that film.
I haven't seen it. I'm ashamed to admit.
It's great. I watched it every day for like 3 months once.
I saw it over at your place, Sam, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really want to see it again. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch.
We have it.
Yay!
No.
Yay!
Did you guys ever watch The Losers?
I have not had a chance to watch The Losers. That's
That
with
one was-
Zoe Saldana, right?
Yeah, and it has Chris Evans in it, another comic book movie he's in. And the other guy, he's in
I don't know this
Watchmen.
one.
He plays the comedian,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
not
yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
No. Yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Anyway, that one was done really well. It came out at the same time as A-Team, so no one ever saw that. They went and saw A-Team instead.
Why would they go watch A-Team? I'd go
I
watch
don't
something
know.
that probably has a little bit more originality, because you can't turn the A-Team into a movie. It's impossible, as it was shown.
Yeah, well, it didn't do very well.
No,
Right.
the thing is like, how do you take the A-Team and make it? It's a gimmicky
Well,
show.
I think you could do it just like you could do Mission Impossible. You just have to do it right and do it well. You know, I mean, Mission Impossible was a show. Charlie's Angels was a show. Those movies did fairly well.
When
so.
the A-Team, they would have never shot anybody. Remember, they would not kill anyone.
True.
They would
but
scare them off with bullets.
I don't
Damn it.
remember that.
Yeah. And with anything that we've talked about, you can let us know at wellthathappenedpodcast.com. Drop us some of your favorite films, some of your favorite comic book heroes. Shit, villains. Even villains. I'll take them. Just let us know. All right. And with that, let's move on. Let's talk Batman's / Bruce Wayne. Who is the best Batman / Bruce Wayne discussion? And this is take into account the film you just watched, because I know a lot of people always say Michael Keaton is the best Bruce Wayne / Batman. And I don't know. For me personally, I think because of the more realistic take that Christopher Nolan did, for me, it's going to be Christian Bale. Hands down. The exploration of Bruce Wayne's psyche in the first film, in Batman Begins, is excellent. They kind of gloss it over a bit in the Batman series with Michael Keaton. But he, for me, second place, Michael Keaton. Second place. Haley?
First, I thought Keaton was tied with Christian Bale, but then I realized watching this film that Keaton is really good at playing Keaton. Not as much as Clooney's good at playing Clooney, but Christian Bale is amazing as Bruce Wayne.
How dare you talk about bat nipples that way?
His nipples were nice, but I'm going to go with Christian Bale as the better Bruce Wayne. The better Batman, though, was Keaton.
Ooh, okay. All right. I disagree, but that's okay, because we're allowed to. Jeff?
Okay, the best Batman is Michael Keaton. Hands down, Michael Keaton will always be the best Batman. That said, however...
I fucking hate you. I hate you.
No,
right
it's
now.
okay, it's okay. The best Bruce Wayne is Christian Bale, because he played the hurt, the pain, and the guy who has just had a singular vision towards fighting crime. Basically, he played the playboy only to get what he wants and just to show that he's a quote-unquote normal guy, while the rest of the time he's just constantly brooding. However, the best Batman / Bruce Wayne, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, what? Yeah, it's true. That's true. Kevin Conroy is excellent. Excellent. But Damn it, I didn't take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. That's a fucking great choice. I hate your face for it. That's it. Shave off his beard.
What's Kevin Conroy?
He plays the voice from the animated series.
Right.
And he also plays
the
in the voice of Batman in the video games.
Right. No, he's very good.
The only one that he doesn't do it in is Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh, that's
he
too
is
bad.
not in that. And Troy Baker is Joker, not Mark Hamill.
Ah, that's too bad.
And no, believe me, it was a smart move on their point because that game sucks.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. Those are the only ones you can skip over Arkham Origins. That was a push by Warner Brothers to make more money, and it's evident by the lackluster presentation. So, Todd, who is your favorite Batman / Bruce Wayne or whatever? You can do what Haley did and split it.
Mine is definitely going to be George Clooney. No.
I would be very.
I was hard pressed but I have to keep my original knee jerk reaction. I'm going to stick with Michael Keaton, both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Michael Keaton is the better Batman. It's a movie. It's entertaining, right? His Batman is not the growly nonsense of Christian Bale.
Yeah.
It's a more developed character as the crime-fighting force, not just a suit of armor. And the reason I'm going to go with Michael Keaton as Batman is because there is the moment when you can see the pain, when he's laying the flowers on his parents' grave. But he has embedded himself in the character of Bruce Wayne so far, and he plays the neurotic bits, the pieces that you know is going to happen when you start to have the fractured psyche. You know, when the newspaper reporter is like, "Hey, can I get a grant?" And he's like, "Yeah, get Knott's a grant." You know, and you go, "Hey, where'd you get this?" And he goes, "Yeah, I got it in Japan." You know, and the moment when he's trying to explain to Vicky Vale who he is, and she walks away, and he starts mouthing to himself, "I'm Batman. I'm Batman." Like, he had the fractured psyche and the confused personality perfectly done. He was playing the part of Bruce Wayne, knowing he was the Batman, but he was trying to find the humanity in the character as well, which is really interesting. Which is where I actually felt that the Christian Bale kind of faltered. He got the driven, dark, revenge-oriented, hate-filled aspect of humanity without any of the lightness, which I think Michael Keaton touched on well, because Michael Keaton was trying to remember what he's fighting for.
I would have to disagree with you because in the...
And you can.
Yeah, no. And I will. And I shall. And I'm doing it right now. Now, when Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne is talking to Harvey Dent, and he sees that Harvey Dent represents the whole time that this is what he wants for the city, you could see that this is when he plays with the idea that he can finally drop it, that he can finally hand the reins over to someone who has the front, who can be that man that he has to, hide behind. He hides behind the Batman thing. You see the fracture in himself, but it's a different fracture. It's a dark reality that Christopher Nolan has presented. And I think Christian Bale really brought to life the brooding aspects of a man who doesn't know how to deal with the real life that he's been handed, the bad cards that he's been played by the loss of his parents, and that how it affected him his whole life, and how he failed to get revenge on the petty thief who killed his parents. And that's why when Harvey Dent became Two-Face, how broken he was, because he's like, this is it, like whatever hope I had placed on this image that could help fix the city is gone. And he goes, and I have to stay. I don't want to do this anymore, but I have to be him. And
Sam, that's a good moment. That is it. That is an excellent moment. But I think the overall arc of the character is displayed much more humanly in Michael Keaton. And like I said, this was a tough decision for me.
No, I get it.
Sadly, no one mentioned Adam West, and I have to say I give him props because he took a character and made it campy, but all at the same time popular.
All right, with that, let's discuss Batman.
Let's talk about the movie.
All right.
1989's Batman by Tim Burton. And you can tell this is a Tim Burton film.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. Like, this is, I think, before Tim Burton completely slipped his leash, because everything he's made in the past 10 years, I'm going to say, has been pretty much shit. Like, I don't think I've seen a good Tim Burton film since Nightmare Before Christmas?
Edward Scissorhands was good, but was that before?
That's
Nightmare?
25
That was
years old.
25. Yeah, that was way before.
Even older. Yeah, it's there. It's gone.
I'm talking
I can't
after this.
remember.
Frankenweenie.
Yeah, but
Frankenweenie
Frank and Weenie he made when he was like an art student.
That's
And
true.
Frankenweenie was disgusting. I couldn't.
And this is what I'm telling you. I think Tim Burton is done. I think the past 10 years, the past 4 or 5 films he's made have been absolute god-awful pieces
Are
of
you
shit.
basically putting him on the M. Night Shyamalan Book of Shame?
Yeah.
What he needs to do is stop Simbaing Johnny Depp, and then he can probably make a better movie.
Well played, and he needs to stop using stripes.
He loves stripes.
I kind of like this.
I don't mind the stripes, but yeah, he's got to stop using Johnny Depp for everything, and well, now his ex-wife Helena Bonham Carter for everything, because they're fine, they're fun, but now it's like,
It's the same movie.
It's the same movie,
Same
yeah.
movie over and over again.
yeah.
Yeah, and Danny Elfman also for the music. I love Danny Elfman though. I mean, honestly, but
Yeah.
it's just at this point in time, he's a caricature of himself. But
Yeah,
with
Tim Burton is only making the same
Yeah.
movie over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Even his Planet of the Apes, which actually didn't have Johnny Depp in it,
No, I had Marky Mark.
was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I had high hopes for that.
But let's talk some of the scenes. One of the scenes that stood out to me was the opening sequence. I thought they were, because I had not watched this movie in a very long time. That opening sequence with the parents lost in Gotham, for some reason I thought that was Bruce Wayne and his parents. And when they got robbed and she screamed and the camera pulled up from the overhead and you see animated Batman like turning, I thought that looked cool. The only part that I hated was when they pulled out, "Look, American Express, can't leave home without it," or whatever the hell the catchphrase
A lot of
was.
the dialogue was cheeky.
Yeah.
Cheeky?
Yeah.
It's cheeky. Apparently I'm British.
Yeah, but I mean the Tim Burton look of this film, it's very well shot. It does feel like you're watching an old timey comic book, either television show or something like that. I thought it was very well structured in terms of his presentation of set and angles and everything. It
was
worked out really well.
Definitely beautiful. There's very little I didn't like about this movie. I sort of went off on a tangent and talking shit about Tim Burton, but that's all recent Tim Burton. I absolutely fucking love this movie. I love it. Except, and this makes me sad, I hate to say this, but rewatching this movie, I didn't really like Jack Nicholson's performance.
What?
Really?
What?
Wow. I am surprised because for me, that was the best thing about this movie.
I didn't hate, no, let me rephrase that.
I really
I
liked
didn't love it the way I did when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I loved it. But there are a couple of scenes, specifically the one where he shakes the guy's hand and, "Ooh, we got a live one here," and electrocutes him. It seemed very cartoony, and it felt like he was phoning it in. There were a couple moments where it was legitimate and it was real, and he was terrifying,
That's
and menacing.
That's funny because for me, I felt like the Joker was a cross between an homage to the '60s Batman, Cesar Romero, and a crazy person. I thought he walked that line pretty fucking well. The introduction sequence with him taking the mirror and then laughing and then just storming off, just with the psychotic laugh that he was having. But it was very reminiscent of the '60s television show, and I fucking loved him. I love Jack Nicholson in this movie. So good. How fucking dare you, sir? But you know,
I used to love, and let me say this: I rewatched this film and I tried to be as critical as possible. I absolutely did, and there were just a couple of moments where I went, "Oh, that's a funny choice."
Yeah, I had the same experience. I liked, no, not with Jack Nicholson, but with Keaton. Going back watching it, I used to like him as Bruce Wayne. He was the ultimate Bruce Wayne for me. And then there was parts where his acting was just weird, and he kept doing the Jack Nicholson eyebrows that made no sense. And that's just me being picky as hell. But I started watching, I was like, I just don't have the feelings for Keaton as much as I used to.
You know what? That's one thing, but Jack Nicholson is the iconic Joker for me. I mean, no matter who else plays him, they are compared to Jack Nicholson for me. Even Heath Ledger, he did a great job. Still not as good as Jack Nicholson.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to disagree with you right there.
Oh, no.
Heath Ledger as the Joker he's the bar now.
No.
He's the bar. For me, he's the bar. I'm sorry, because I also like the more realistic world of the Batman.
Sure, but the problem is that this is not a realistic movie. Batman has never been realistic. That's the thing. And I think
it is a comic book.
yeah, and I think that this movie, this particular Batman, is the best blending of comic book and reality. You could believe that in some alternate weird ass city that these characters could happen. With the Heath Ledger Joker and the Christopher Nolan, it's like, okay, we're gonna just take this to the extreme reality side, and it just kind of sometimes didn't become believable because you're like, well, we're so reality based, but you can't glide with a cape, some of the technology kind of gets lost. This was the perfect blending of those worlds.
I couldn't stand Batman running around so much. He's just constantly on his feet. I just want to see, I don't know what it bothered me. Him and Vicky Vale are running down the Vale are running down the freaking alley, and for some reason it bugged me that seeing him run around so much.
This is the best Batman movie, bar none.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. My criticism is I did not believe Jack Nicholson's performance 100%.
I cannot say that this is the best Batman movie. For me, it's Batman Begins. The exploration of Bruce Wayne's...
That's so weak. Batman Begins is so weak. Dark Knight Rises is so much better.
Dark Knight Rises is great. I just felt that Bane wasn't big enough. He should have hired a bigger actor.
Oh, wait, which one am I talking about?
I think you mean Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Rises is
just the
weak.
Dark Knight. It's just the Dark Knight.
Okay, yeah.
Dark Knight. You're blending Tim Burton's sequel, Batman Returns, and The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I felt that Batman Begins was good, but it was weaker than Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises was the weakest of the three.
I actually didn't care about Batman Begins, quite honestly.
I didn't either.
I just didn't give two shits. I was like...
The only thing I didn't like is Katie Holmes.
Tom Cruise's ex-wife.
Yeah, she's not good. She's very stale.
Yeah, I just didn't care about the film.
I really liked it, man. I really enjoyed it.
My favorite one of all time is still to this day, and you guys will disagree with me.
Batman Returns?
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns I enjoy a lot better than
You're
this
wrong.
Batman.
But also you got to think about how old I was when that came out. And
Wait, you like Batman Returns better than the original Tim Burton?
I do like Batman Returns. I think because of the darker aspects of the story, it's a little bit more on the quirky side for me, and I think I enjoyed that a bit more with Max by Christopher Walken as Max. What's his name?
Oh, he was very good.
Danny DeVito's performance as the Penguin to be a grotesque kind of like animal hybrid present. It worked out so well.
I love Christopher Walken, but for some reason in Batman Returns, he was the most oddly placed character in the whole movie. I was kind of always like, why are you here? I like you a lot, but why are you here?
I'm here to make the movie better.
I like Harvey Dent showing up in the first Batman.
Yeah.
Tim Burton one.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
Lando
I expect him to
Calrissian.
give me a smack and tell me to drink some Colt 45.
I expect him to be holding a Colt 45. Ladies and gentlemen of Gotham. His speech was cool. I was like...
Which actually leads me to believe that I feel like Batman Returns was the wrong sequel. I believe that they were going to take Billy D. Williams and make him into Two-Face for the sequel, and just something happened. Something got mixed up in the wires there.
Yeah, you know what? I actually felt the same way because it was such a big sequence when they were talking about Harvey Dent, the new
They
lawyer.
named his name, and it was a big thing, and then nothing happened.
I think that's one of those ones where it took too long to make the next one, is why Billy D. Williams wasn't Two-Face, because Two-Face is in the next one. It's just Tommy Lee Jones.
In the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think after these movies, they started realizing they have to sign these actors to 3-movie deals. Because up to this point, you're like, oh, maybe they'll show up for Batman 2 or Batman 3 or, one of the other ones. But it was never really guaranteed. And then all of a sudden, after these movies, people were like, wait, we really want to see these characters come back, and if they're busy or they have other deals going on, then we either have to pay more or so it's just easier if we just sign them to 3-movie deals, and that's that.
Going back to Batman, though, one of my most disliked characters was the reporter Knox.
I love that actor.
I hated Knox a lot, and the back and forth between him and Kim Basinger was awful. It was just so bad, and I don't know if it's just the time and the era, but the love story, they met each other, they fell in love.
Yeah, I feel like that's all studio.
Yeah, maybe
that's all studio.
It's also very Tim Burton. He likes doing that kind of shit. He's very sappy when it comes to portrayal of love in film.
Yeah, I'm sappy too. I'm cool with that.
The love story was probably my most disliked aspect of this movie.
Most of the Batman movies, most of them, I think Batman Returns is the exception. The love story involved is always kind of...
Yeah, I will agree with that. It is the weak. I will
Even-
also say the exception is Batman Returns. I think the development between Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne worked out really well.
I think that worked out well. I think that was the only... Even in Batman Begins and Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, the love story between Christian Bale's character and the Katie Holmes at first and Gyllenhaal in the second, it just felt unnecessary to me. I just didn't ever care.
I tend to believe most love stories are unnecessary, and they take away from the important parts of the film.
Jeff is watching movies as a screenwriter like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
I mean, here's the thing. You're right. Most studios are like, well, we want to have like the female audience and we want to bring them in. But I mean, just generally speaking, they have these women who are kind of weak and they're just kind of, in a sense, hooing and hawing over the main character, which I think is the wrong approach. Selina Kyle, on the other hand, was fantastic.
What was your most hated sequence? Like, you loathed this sequence in Batman. I'll tell you mine. Shit. The museum entrance.
What?
When he
What?
walks in with the shitty Prince song and he's defacing the artwork.
I fucking love that part.
That's my favorite part.
I love that part.
And I don't know if it's because I hate the way it was shot. I think it's mostly because I hate that song. Party Man?
Maybe.
Fucking
I really
terrible.
like that song.
That
Hated
scene
it.
has one of the best makeups I've ever seen. And I'm not talking about when he decides to give himself flesh tone, because that was horrible. But when he rubs off the face makeup and it's between the two, that looked amazing.
That was good.
Loved it.
Yeah, I just didn't like that sequence.
Leave this one, Bob.
Oh,
kinda
poor
liked
Bob.
I did like the little nod to Bob Kane when they had the Batman drawing in the bat suit, and it's right there with his name.
I felt so bad for Bob in this movie because...
Bob Gunn.
Yeah, well, and then on top of that, I felt bad for the Joker in this movie because he just wanted to have a great party with Gotham, and then Batman swoops in, steals his damn balloons, and just ruins everything for him and makes Joker kill his best friend.
Well, Joker was trying to kill everybody. in
Yeah,
Gotham.
that's a technicality.
That's not a
but
technicality.
He
He's
was having
trying-
a party, and he was having a good time and making everyone smile for,
Smile
probably
until they die. Yeah,
the best moment of their life because Gotham looks like a happy place.
It looks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Uplifting.
going to move there.
This movie has not held up as well as I remember it
No, it
holding
has.
up.
You're wrong.
No, I don't.
It hasn't.
It has not.
No, it's a great goddamn film, and everyone should own it.
I would say you should.
On Blu-ray.
Is that where you're going? Own it on
That's
Blu-ray?
absolutely. Everyone should own this on Blu-ray.
Here's the thing. Actually, watching it on HD, I could see some of the green screen effects taking place. That said, I agree with Todd 100%. Everyone should own this movie. This is the best Batman you'll ever see. Ever. I don't care what anyone else says. Sam, you're wrong. Haley, you're wrong. Greatest Batman
Yeah,
ever.
look,
He would never-
nitpickiness aside, this is a great goddamn film.
I never said
I'm not
that
saying
it wasn't.
it's not a
I
great
just-
film. I just don't think it's held up as well as it should have.
This was almost it wasn't quite pre-CGI, but CGI was not used very heavily at all at this point. So everything was practical at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to have like little things that you're going to see and things like...
It's not even the practicality of it that bothered me. It's more of just some of the writing, some of the presentation of the story is really what kind of bothered me more about the film. It's not practical effects and everything.
But coming into it from person, I mean, back in the 80s, you either saw the TV show and thought it was crap, or you saw the TV show and thought it was just entertaining. This was a whole new take. This was taking the 80s Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller book, and bringing it to the big screen. This was no longer a campy thing. This was dark, gritty, and it was noir. And this was a brand new Batman. Even I, as a kid, was like, when I saw the Batsuit on a picture, I was like, this is something brand new. And everything else has followed that mold. Yes, they've improved upon it, but this is the mold that everyone has followed.
And without Batman, we wouldn't have Birdman, which was the best movie of last year.
Birdman was fucking great. We all know that. But, I mean, what do you think at home? Let us know. Well, thathappenedpodcast.com. Drop us a line at facebook.com/WTH podcast. Let us know your thoughts. You heard ours. You heard us kind of jumping all over the place, which is what we like to do. I think it works out a little bit better in your favor because you get to hear our sexy, sexy thoughts. Thanks to everyone who listens to the program. And
Next week's movie.
Oh, that's right. We have a movie next week. What is that movie, Jeff?
It's going to be Wolf Cop.
I fucking hate you.
Yay! Thank you, Haley.
No problem.
It's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy it, maybe. But we're going to have a good time talking about it, and you're going to have a great time listening to it. So check it out.
Well, yeah, that's right. You can check it out. Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that shit.
Watch Wolf Cop, join the conversation.
That's right. And with that, well...
Batman, 1989.
That happened.
Batman.